Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, what if I told you that thousands of people are rejected from Canada's permanent residency every single year? Not because they are unqualified, not because they lack education or experience, but just simply because they misunderstood one thing. Do you know that thing is CRS? CRS means Comprehensive Ranking System. Some people spend millions of money, whatever currency, naira, cedi, whichever, they spend millions and years preparing. They write multiple IELTS or whatever English exam they choose, whichever language, French they choose, only to discover too late that their CRS score is low. While others with low education, average English, and even no Canadian experience are invited quietly migrate and are invited to apply for PR because they understood the CRS score. They understood the power of CRS score. So, in this video, I will break down CRS in simple language, explain how it is calculated, show you why it's important in deciding which route you will pursue. Okay, and most importantly, how to use your CRS score to choose the best and fastest route to permanent residence in Canada. So, if you are planning to migrate to Canada, confused about express entry, unsure if your score is good enough, or tired of wasting money on the wrong pathway, this video will save you some stress, save you years and thousands of whichever currency you're spending from. So let's get on board as I explain to you the CRS and how it determines your permanent residence, your path to permanent residency. Before I go on, I want to ask you to please subscribe to this channel. If this information I'm sharing on this channel is important to you, you're interested, please subscribe and like this video so that more people will be recommended. And every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified immediately. Okay, so let's get down to business. And the first thing is to understand what CRS means. As I already said earlier, CRS simply means Comprehensive Ranking System. It is a point-based system used by IRCC. IRCC, they are the immigration and the refugees, the commission that sees about bringing people, immigrants to Canada, admitting people to Canada. If you're going to move to Canada, whichever route, whether as a visitor or as a permanent resident or whatever, you must pass through IRCC. So this CRS system is what actually determines who is invited to apply for permanent residence. It's the point. So before you, apart from getting to Canada as a visitor student route, if you're going to become a permanent resident in Canada, you must have your CRS score. Okay, now you have to understand one thing here. CRS does not give you PR. Rather, it ranks you against others, against other people that are also competing. So you're going to see it as a competition. Other people that also want to go to Canada, the CRS determines. So if you understand the CRS very well, it will help you to position yourself in order against others, to have an edge against others. Okay, you may be surprised that even if your CRS is low, if you understand the game very well, you will still be able to get invited to permanent residence. So let's move on. Why is it important? Like I already said, it is important because that's what determines who is invited to apply for permanent residence. It determines how long you're going to stay in the pool. If your CRS is favorable and you're in the right, in the right path, you may not stay long in the pool. Some people will stay longer in the pool because they don't understand the CRS and choose the correct route to go through. So if you understand the CRS very well, you check yourself, be able to choose the correct route, and that will determine how long you're going to be in the pool. Okay, so let's continue. And then CRS score. So now how how does this score? It's over 1,200 points. Now, how is it calculated? The first point is core human capital. I'm going to break it down for you. The second point is spouse or partner factors. If you're married, your spouse or your partner factors. And the third is your skill transferability, what you're going to bring to Canada, what you're bringing to the table. Okay, and also there are additional points who I'm going to explain to you later, like extra language and all that, having siblings and all that in Canada and all that. Okay, so let's get down to the core human capital. This one is over 500. So if you get all the maximum, each one has a point that is going to add for you. If your age will determine how much you're going to get, there's a score attached to age, of which is not what I'm going to be doing in this video, because I don't want this video to be so long. But in subsequent videos, I'm going to explain, perhaps bring each one and we see it. But just know that there's a point attached to your age. The younger you are, the more you get there's a maximum point attached to age. If the peak age is usually between 20 to 29 years, from 30 years it starts decreasing. Your points on age start decreasing until you get to about 45 years. Okay, so the younger, the earlier. Another one is your education. You as a person, your education, what kind of education you have. If you attend PhD, you get the highest point. If you are just a master's or first degree holder, so depending on your level of education will also contribute to how much points you will get. Like I said, I won't go into detail of which point. I'll do that video separately. And the other one is language ability. They use English or French language. So if you're a French speaker, you will take the exam that is called either TEF or TCF. You also have the English. If you're an English speaker, you have IELTS or CELP. These exams, you will take them. When you take them, if you get the maximum for each, there's a way it's ranked, which I'll do explain in details in another video. So if you get the maximum, you get the highest point. And this language is usually a very powerful factor. If you're going to write an exam, it's usually a very powerful factor in determining the points you will get. Another one is Canada experience. If you've worked in Canada or you've studied in Canada, it also adds to your points. And sometimes you also have those who apply without spouse, they get higher CRS. I don't know why it's that, but we're going to see quickly that if you have a spouse, your spouse can also add to your points. So again, you can see here, spouse factors will give you up to 40. So if your spouse does all these things, is in the maximum highest level in all these things, you get more, up to 40 points added. So if your spouse, this level of education, if he has attained master's or PhD, you get the highest point for that. Spouse language score, if your spouse wrote the exam and they did very well, you can also get the maximum point for that. If your spouse has a Canadian experience, has studied in Canada, or has work experience in Canada, can also give you. So you see, if you don't have a spouse, they actually compensate those people that do not have spouses by giving them higher in their own personal human capital. Okay, so you see, now when you talk about CRS, whenever people are invited to permanent now, before I go to cut-off scores, I want to talk about the additional points that you get. Now, I mentioned additional points. These additional points that can also boost your CRS could be what is called provincial nomination, because even if a province is nominating you to go to Canada, to come to their province, you must still pass through the federal government. So that's why you must still have an express entry profile. So if the province nominates you, they will give you 600 points, and that one will already boost your points. Remember, we're talking about over 1,200. So plus other scores, points that you would have gathered from your own personal capital. Okay, so you have that. So for that, also another thing that can give you extra points, if you have French language proficiency, if you can speak French depends on your level. If you can speak French B2, that's advanced level. If you can speak, write, listen and understand French up to advanced level, you will get points, and that one is, I think it's 50 points will be added. So you see, everybody will go through these ones that I just mentioned earlier. Then, if after everybody has been assessed through all the ones I mentioned earlier, then you now start having these extra points. If you were nominated by a province, you get provincial nomination points. If you know how to speak French, you get French language proficiency points. If you have studied in Canada, you will get the Canadian education point. That one is, I think, is 30 marks, depends. Then you have a valid job offer that will also give you points. Then if you have siblings in Canada, so if you have a siblings that is PR, permanent resident or citizen, not a student, not a visitor, okay? So if you have siblings in Canada, that one also give you points. So you see, after every other person has been, assessed based on the basic points I mentioned earlier, if you have these extra points, you see that your score will increase. And so when there's general draw and your score is above that, above the minimum, they always have a cutoff based on what they want and how many people they want for that particular time. So they will do what they will choose you. If these factors can boost your point and you can be chosen. The category draws are those ones that like different categories. After the one we called Federal Skilled Workers Express Entry, we also have category draws. These are classified depending on each time what they have. For now, they have the French category, the healthcare category, the STEM workers. These ones, okay, so if you fall in within this category, you can be picked. Then the provincial nomination routes. The provincial nomination, if a province nominated you, you have that one also. They will, remember, if a province nominates you, you can get 600 points already added to what you have gathered by yourself, and that will boost your score. So, why should CRS determine your PR? You need CRS to choose the right route and work with it. If you check your CRS, you can calculate your CRS online even before you enter the pool. You can use what is called CRS calculator to calculate just based on what you have, your qualification. You calculate it. When you see your points, you now choose which route you want to go through it. Do you want to go through study? Because if you have study and you work, it will boost your point. Or do you want to look for provinces that are looking for people that are qualified? Maybe you have a skill that a province is looking for. You check education, healthcare, so many things. That one, we'll look at that in another video. We'll talk about different provinces and what they're looking for. If you see that the province is looking for what you want, what you will do, you start applying to that province through their provincial nomination, and they can nominate you. The express entry, the federal express entry, is usually higher. So that's why if you're not that young, because age will also cut off your score. If you're not that young, you can decide to go for all these other routes that you can come in through low scores. Okay, so if your CRS is low, very low, you know that you may just have to try and do study routes. Then after study, you work, you get those points. So that is understanding your CRS. This is what I have done in this video, explaining to you why you need to understand CRS. It's very important in determining how far you stay in the pool and who is coming in as a permanent resident in Canada. When you understand all these things, you start working it, you plan it. See, let me tell you, CRS is not, when people hear about CRS, it's not something you need to be afraid of. It's just a guide. That's why I've broken it down for you in this video to give you hope. So the best thing you do, you sit down and calculate your CRS based on who you are, your profile. Then you look at it and say, okay, this is what I have now. I need to do this to add it. You start working towards it. If it is French route you want to, in the other video, I showed you how French route has been the easiest way now to come to Canada. You start working towards it. Give yourself 1 year and you can learn it, because these people, they'll keep bringing in people. They'll keep bringing in foreigners. What you need to do is position yourself where they need people that have the skills that you have, okay? And you will be invited. So I hope this video has helped you. I hope it has, be useful to you. If so, please subscribe to this channel and like, and also share. And you can drop in the comment section what you want me to do to the video. In any question that you have, I can research and make a video on that. Okay, so thank you so much for coming around. I really appreciate your staying till this time. I'll see you again in my next video. All the best.